Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today I thought I'd pop on here and show you as I was working on some junk journals with some vintage covers. I found out lately that if I try to do more than, if I do more than one at a time, I end up having many more journals done quicker. I'm still pretty slow, but this does help. So I was working on 3 and I just thought, well, I'm going to come on here and show you what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of spring ones and I felt like I needed to do some vintage ones. So all I did was take some cardstock and print it on one side, and then I covered the other side. I've got this closed because it keeps wanting to stay open. I printed it on one side, and then on the other side, I just covered it with different kinds of fabrics in a more natural color that I had. Some of the fabrics, most of it's all comes from vintage, from garage sales and estate sales and stuff like that. Just different scraps like this one. One of these has, I got a linen off of a garage sale, and it had some areas in the middle of it where they hadn't embroidered, and it was really cool fabric. So I used that on one of these. It was this cover here. So you can still see the edge on the top. So you just take it, and when you glue it down, you make sure and you spread the glue very evenly. I use a credit card. You can use your fingers too. And you spread it very evenly, and you make sure and get the edges, because the edges, just like in paper, the edges are always a pain and want to come up. You can always go back and glue them later. But as you can see on this one, I didn't even worry about getting it exactly. It helps if you just go ahead and make it bigger than the paper, and then you can cut it off later. So you don't have to worry as much about getting it straight and all that good stuff. I think I bent my paper clip here. I was trying to keep that closed. So these are my 3 covers, and I thought I'd do 2 of them on here. I'll show you the third one, the first one that I've already done. I wanted lace, and I wanted vintage ladies, and I wanted to be pretty. I don't think I'll add a lot to this one. I'll probably add a closure. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the back. I don't know if I'm going to add a doily or some more vintage fabric, or if I'm going to, I think I will put something on it. Each material is a little different, so I'll decide later. Right now I'm just working on the front, and they all have a kind of a flap. And then I've already been working on the insert for this one here, and I've embellished a couple pages. I haven't added any ephemera or anything. Just I've been working on putting some putting some pockets in and adding some different corner things. And this is one idea, punching out some of the paper to give it some interest. This is one that I had. In the past, I've seen where they've done coffee filter pockets, and I made a coffee filter and I glued it to some wax paper. I tea-dyed the coffee paper so it got this color, and I glued it to some wax paper. And in the past, I've used it where I folded up the whole thing and made a pocket, but I didn't want that much width in here. So I just cut out a triangle, and I was just going to have a triangle pocket, and I thought, well, I got to decorate it. So I came up with this idea to put some lace on it, and have, now you kind of have 2 places. You have under here, and then you have this little tuck here. Plus it's a crinkly sound. I don't know if you can hear it. So, and that was just taking the round coffee filter and cutting it in 4s, and then gluing the edges and gluing this on the top. So I thought that was a cute idea that I'm going to do probably in all of these right here. But right now, all we're going to work on is these. So this one here, I took and I first laid down some Lacy material that I had, and I covered a lot of it up. But if you flip this up once we're done, you'll be able to see some of it. I was thinking maybe I shouldn't have put so much. I could have used that for something else after I put all this other stuff on here. And this one, I just was at a charity shop and I found a couple pieces of, they were just like, they weren't very big. They were just like torn off or something. And I bought them. I took them up to the front and said, how much? And she said $1/4. So I just glued some of that on the front of there. We're going to make a cover out of that. I'm just using Fabri-Tac Real Light. And then I put it on there because this is very see-through. And then I just dab it to stick it down. And like it looks like I'll have to put a little bit more right through here. I'm going to have to cut off the edge just a little bit on there, but we'll worry about that later. So to kind of finish these, I got some digitals from a store. I can't remember the name. I'll have to tell you. Leave it in the description box. And I'm using those as my base, and then I'm trying to find some Lacy stuff to stick around it. So we'll just go ahead and make this cover here and see what we can do. I hope you guys are having a good, maybe not a good time, but an okay time sheltering in place, because you have to craft, because what else can you do, right? All you can do is just do your crafts and wait for this thing to get better. At least we have something that we can do that we love. So I know I've been able to craft a lot more since this started. And I like that part of it. So different pieces of Lacy stuff to give it a little bit of a frame. And then I really wanted this to show, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get it though, because this is going to have to be up here just a little bit higher. And I did a swap on Junk Journal Junkies, and we did a lace swap, and I finally got some lace like this. And I've never had heart lace like that before, and I just love it. It's beautiful. I bought a yard of it, and I haven't been wanting to use it because I do everything cheap. If I can't find it at a sale or something, or at the charity shop, I probably won't go in the store and just buy it. So I'm making myself use this stuff because, you know, you only live once. So I'm really happy I got my hearts here, that kind of lace. And then what I thought I'd do is put this on the top. But what I want to do first is, you know, I was just going to glue this all the way through, but let's see if we can kind of glue it and still be able to flip that up. It could be like a secret spot to do something, I don't know. If you go light enough, and that's what's lovely about this Fabri-Tac, it dries so quick. But you do have to keep the cap on or it bubbles up. Let's see if we can get it on there and not let it glue to this part here. To this part, not glue to that part. Just let it glue to this part. That part's glued down already, so that's okay. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll still flip up now if we just don't press on it too hard. All right. Now, let's see. I want to put these little rosettes up here. Oh, I think I need to cut a little bit of the rosettes off. They have a netting on them. And I like to cut a little around closer to the rosette so not so much of the netting is showing. But don't cut the rosette. and don't cut it off the other rosette. Go like that. And that way just not quite as much of the netting is showing. And that one that's unraveling, we'll be able to stick it together here once we glue it down. Make sure it's not. That's going to be pretty. It's going to be quite feminine. I'll just add a little glue over here so we can kind of squish that unraveling part back together. A little bit. I think I need to glue a little bit here. Make sure it's not going through. Alright, now I'd also like to put a couple pearls right along here of some type of situation. I have allergies and they make me get like a frog in my throat. All right. I might put another line in there eventually. Make sure it doesn't. There. What do you think? I think that's really pretty. It'll fluff up here. That's going to be a really pretty cover, and they both will flip up if we need them to. All right, now the next one is this one. And I had a lot of trouble with this one, actually. I'm going to put the lid back on. Actually, oh, and then the other thing I did do, just because for where I'm going to sew my signatures in, I put a piece of fabric, I glued a piece of fabric down. You can use Tribeck or fabric just to give it a little bit of strength right through here, because this is just cardstock. But that should be plenty. The fabric should be plenty to hold it all together. But I wasn't sure if before I did the front cover I wanted to do this first or not. But you see I did it too wide, so I'm just going to cut off the excess. And you could cut it a little straighter and you could fray it, because this material here frays really well. I can see it as I'm cutting it, it's going to fray really well. So, like so. Now for this one, see, whenever I do covers like this, I always have trouble because I don't want to hide all the pretty up. But you gotta hide the pretty up. So, I'm going to put it a little lower. I'm going to do something. And then this digital I got from Antique Papery. It's a little, there's like 6 of them. Just thinking about that. And I glued this on already because I figured it would take forever if I waited for the video. And then I got some more of my hearts. It's going to make you get the right size. It's going to be something like that. And then this time I had a little of this. And then I wanted to do something like, I got this out of a sale too. There was 3 of them in a little package. Pretty little like crocheted hearts. Oops, you don't want to cover her face up. That's why I got to start out this way, because it's a little, gotta measure it just right to fit it all in there and not cover her face up. Like so. And then I was thinking about this down here. Like that, maybe. Oh, maybe not. Anyways, we'll worry about that later. So what I want to do mostly is I want to make sure I get this all straight because this has not got a lot of room here. So first we're going to glue. I can take a lid off and put a lid back on one-handed. I know you guys can too. I'm going to put a little glue on this piece of fabric, silky Chanel fabric that came from a sale from a vintage or a store that had it used to do the fabric for RVs back in the 80s or something, maybe 90s, and they had all this really cool fabric. Okay, so we're gonna let it flop back down so it stays where we want it to. Yep, I bent that, but I think it'll be all right. Let's see, about like that and about like that. Oh, first we have to do this part. Such intricate calculations. I'm gonna go here. Oh, I wanted that to show. Oh yeah, that one shows, okay. I am still on track to be measured right. Let's put this down. Really, besides sitting there and just figuring out what you want to do on the cover, this doesn't take very long actually. It's just all the positionings and different little bits you want to put on your cover, so you can make an easy vintage cover with lots of lace and bling on it. So hopefully I got that in position good enough, because we got to keep that heart out of her face. Put it to the edge as far as we can. That'll give us room. I might come back and glue those petals down. It just depends. It just depends. Sometimes if you leave a little of the edges free floating, it gives the whole thing a little bit of movement. Since we're so close. Yeah, we made it. Yay. And we didn't get her face. All right. Now we'll do this. Let's see, like that. It's a little off sides, so we get the edge of that. I've been watching some great videos. You guys are really putting out some good stuff lately. Make me want to do 20 things at once. All right. And then we'll put this on here. Right there. Like So, okay. See, I might have to glue that down a little bit because it wants to bend up. We'll see. You can always do little adjustments later on. To hide that corner, I thought, let's see, this is the right side. I thought I would do that. Oh, I like it. I don't know if you guys ever watch Maggie White. She does fabric books. I so want to do a fabric book, but I don't know if I can give up enough of my stash to put all that stuff in there. She does trim after trim after trim. That's why I'm doing all this here. I'm trying to use up more of my stash that I always want to save, and I always pick it up and then set it back down because I don't want to use it. I'm like, don't use it yet. You need it for something really important. Anyways, there we go. So there's our third cover, and you know, you could do something cool there too. It doesn't have to be just there. So there's that one, and there's that one, and then there's that one. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Keep on crafting and making those videos because I love watching them. And thank you guys for watching.